Null Gravity Labyrinth is a free game available on Steam. It's kind of an abstract movement puzzle sort of game I gathered from the homepage on Steam. Um, we could talk a lot about a lot of things. I think this is going to be a really interesting one to experience. First off, we're going to talk typography, because we always do. It's always the first thing we talk about on these is typography. So we've got Null Gravity Labyrinth, programmed by Vincent Vogel. We have levels, high scores, settings, and quit. So the typography is pretty rough here, right? We've got this really heavy kerning between the letters that makes it this whole thing, which is the title of the game. That's the thing you want people to really solidify and have a strong visual memory of. It basically just fades in the background. It's so far separated, it's kind of even hard to tell when a word ends, right? Because the spacing is so dramatic between some of these letters. Did I answer your question or did I miss it, asked Aubrey? Oh, you know what? I didn't see that. I'm so sorry. When you join the game jam and say you have a team, do you have to join it individually for each member or once? Just once. Yeah, just one person needs to join. That's fine. Yeah. Hadao, I built my engine's editor around another sound effects asset pack. That's sad. And that's fine. You don't need to have sound. It's fine. We're not going to be grading on, like, is this as close to a released product as possible. A lot of game jams are. They're very focused on polish. This jam's going to be a lot less focused on polish. It's going to be a lot more on, like, how are your concepts? How is this as an idea? More than the polish. Polish is definitely still a part of judgment, but it's not the biggest deal. So, yeah. I hear you, Hadao. I hear you. Ironic, because you're not going to be able to use your sound effect pack. But even with that, I still hear you. But yeah, I mean, if you want to, we can talk about it and see if we can find a solution for you. And then we have programmed by Vincent Vogel. And this is all of a sudden a lot more legible. And so my eye kind of sees this. It glances over, hits here. And this is kind of the first thing that I see. And then I go to high scores and then quit. And it takes me a little bit to circle around and get to levels. Now, this is an interesting composition, right? This is a very interesting composition with the points leading to the different buttons. I do think this image could be shrunk down a lot so that, like, if we take this into Figma, let's play around with some stuff real quick. And also my Figma dark mode has broken, unfortunately. So it's a little bit awkward for a hot second here. Bring this out. Oh, where? God, OBS, you're so weird sometimes. I can never figure out how you're going to scale. Okay. So if we just throw something down right there, right? Lock that. Lock the background. I'm going to screenshot this icon. Paste it. And honestly, I think that's a pretty good size to start off with. We're going to throw a square down and bring this right here. Now, we're instantly starting to get a little bit more visual cohesion, right? Scale it up. I'm going to throw some more gray squares down here. Oops. There we go. Get our next button. Next button. And next button. Sorry for all the alert pings you guys are getting. And then that. There we go. Okay. Levels, high scores, settings, and then quit. All right. So now that these arrows are actually pointing to things instead of just being in the direction, it's in dork mode now. Okay, now it's fine. Just find sourcing sound effects to be really tedious. I don't blame you. We all have parts of the job that we don't enjoy. I understand that. Yeah. So we have Null, Gravity, Labyrinth. And then they have just kind of a basic sans serif font. It's kind of sci-fi-y. Like, we may even be able to get away with Rajdhani. Ooh. Rationale. I don't know. It's maybe a little more stylized than they were hoping to go for, but we'll just play with something simple here. You know what? We'll go Roboto. We'll just go classic. Now, why can I not modify our font width? Huh. How strange. Why is that grayed out there? I've never seen that before. And we could even do a text transform. We could even throw this into like all uppercase, right? And then bring this down, and then we have programmed by Vincent Vogel. And then we can shrink this down a bunch. So we're getting closer here, right? This is starting to look a little bit better. There's a much more clear visual hierarchy, much more clear shape language that's being established. If I can kind of move all these. One thing I'd really like to do is kind of get a shape being built. Like, I'd love for there to be a shape right there being set up by all of the UI elements, right? So we bring that in, and then we'll shrink the size down just a little bit. Oops. Oh, bring it back up a little. And that's looking pretty good. And then we bring this in. So now we have this feeling of a square being brought in, right? I think that's all of a sudden a much better composition. And I haven't even really changed anything about the layout. It's just refining typography, shrinking some stuff down. I mean, layout, I guess, changed a little bit, but still definitely maintaining everything about the original screen. This isn't a wild iteration, right? So you can see how fairly simple revisions can lead to really big improvements in your game's aesthetic, right? Okay. We could talk about order here, levels, high scores, settings, quit. Settings you kind of typically tend to associate with the upper right corner. That's Jacob's Law type sort of stuff. Quit, you know, you may want to feel a little bit more destructive, have an icon with that of like a door or something, or some way to really quickly parse out that that's quit. I do like the levels is in the upper left because our eyes do typically go to the upper left, but because of the layout here and the framing that they have, you kind of get this Fibonacci spiral type sort of effect where you start up here, flow down, and the levels actually ends up, for me at least, being the very last thing that I end up seeing. So let's go in here. So many achievements. You get an achievement for opening the game. Okay. Once again, weird composition here with the main menu being here. It kind of feels like it's a bridge between these two things, but it's separate from them. I would have this not connect to these two to really symbolize that this is a separate thing from them. And even, honestly, replace it with a back button up here. I don't think you need the main menu button there. Have a little back arrow up in the upper left. Remove that. All of a sudden, this is a lot better. Once again, shrink this down. Maybe even replace it, because I don't think it's doing any favors. You've already established a sort of visual symbology of this, that this is going to lead you in different directions, and that's not what's happening here. Also, it's a little annoying that it's slightly off on the pixels. This one feels lower into the left than this one feels down into the right. Anyways, let's go into a level. So this is Null Gravity Labyrinth. Your objective is to find the golden square. All of these are walls. You can't go through them. Man, this is so trippy. And I'm not getting any music or sound effects or anything, which is weird because the achievement for opening the settings menu says, "Do you like the music?" So the objective here is we need to find different colored squares. And as soon as we touch a colored square, it will delete all the barriers of that color. So this is already very trippy. The draw distance is really small, which is a bummer. It kind of feels Superman 64-esque in that regard. I wish I could see a lot further. Oh, we found a square. So let's delete all the pink stuff. So now we have more of the level we can explore. As far as like the concept goes, I think it's interesting. I think it's kind of just a chill, psychedelic kind of see what you can explore around in sort of event. I don't know what that is. What's that? I don't know. Was it a portal? Did I get zonked around into a different part of the... What's this? Nothing. It just looks kind of weird. Okay. I think it's interesting. It's kind of a chill sort of exploration game in that regard of just abstract. It feels like the sort of thing someone may take an edible and just, go have a good time. It's not incredibly engaging to me. I know there's a timer going on the bottom, but this might just be not for me because I've never really been thrilled about score attack games. This is trippy, says Ariel. Yeah, for real. It is very trippy. It's very Ender's Game, there is no down, right? The enemy's gate is down. So I like the concept. I like the idea of just kind of wandering around this surreal landscape and trying to find things. Where I think it could get kind of frustrating, at least for me, is especially early on, it seems like you can get into a position where it's really hard to figure out where you have been and where you have yet to explore. And that would be really annoying because it's possible that I just get completely stuck without finding any of these cubes. And the weird thing is, it's got kind of this reverse difficulty curve because of that, where the more of those cubes you find, the easier it's going to be because there's fewer obstacles preventing you from finding more cubes. So it's kind of like the hardest it ever is right out of the gate, which is a little... It's always a little weird when a game has that sort of a difficulty progression. So like you can see here, I'm kind of just like floating around aimlessly. I don't have any rhyme or reason to know where I'm going. And because I don't have any way to like evaluate that or have any landmarks to judge myself off of, hey, I found a cube, I don't feel very empowered to take control of anything. And that's rough. When you lose that feeling of empowerment, that's when you start to lose your dramatic tension cycles and boredom starts to set in. So that's kind of rough. That's something that I think this design needs to work out. How do you empower people to make meaningful decisions instead of just kind of aimlessly wandering around? Honestly, this thing has some sort of uncanny horror feel to me. I could see that. And if you were like running away from a monster, I think that could amp up that dramatic tension, right? And then feeling powerless is a bit of a trope in the horror genre, and so, all of a sudden things kind of start to fit together a little bit. Doesn't seem very useful to even get the cubes. There are a lot of colors to get. Like, I definitely feel the level getting more opened, but there's a lot of colors. Like, I think the first level should have way fewer colors, right, to ease you into this. That being said, I do feel a lot of sense of accomplishment. Whenever I find a cube, it's this really big dopamine, oh, nice, yes, good. And very satisfying to see how much the level has opened up. I do wish that feeling were more so. Like, I wish there was some sort of animation that would play or something, that instead of just everything getting instantly wiped, like having a pop and sound effects and everything, and have delayed. So, like, all of the blue ones don't disappear at the same time, but kind of on random intervals all pop and disappear and fizzle away. That would be really satisfying. And once again, getting a better draw distance on that is going to help that feeling out a lot. After getting a cube, all spheres should fade away instead of instants. QRT, yeah, you and me, we're on the same page. Absolutely. So it's interesting. I think there's something to this. I do think this is kind of like an early alpha type sort of proof of concept more than it is a finished game, though. I think there's in my opinion, there needs to be more about it. There's not a lot of empowerment. There's not a lot of epic meaning in this. I don't know. That's just kind of me, though. Abstract games are always a little rough for me. I'm not a huge abstract board gamer, for example. But like you can see, I've been floating around in this maze for like 6 minutes now. And I've only found a couple of cubes. I don't know how long these levels are supposed to take. And if it's more than a couple of minutes, I don't know. I think you lose all that feeling of accomplishment that you get from finding things. And you just start settling into frustration and boredom. Like, it'd be cool if you could find power-ups, right? See, and this is the problem. I talk all the time about the danger of it would be cool if from your playtesters. So definitely, developer, take this for whatever it's worth. But, like, if I could find a power-up and, like, launch a missile and delete a big block of things in order to make progress, all of a sudden I feel a little bit more empowered, right? If there were large objects floating through space that could help me to anchor myself. I know that's kind of what the colors are supposed to do, but we talk a lot about Miller's Law in here. 7 plus or minus 2 things can be kept in short-term memory. There's so many colors, and they're used so sporadically that I can't seem to really lock into my brain where anything is or isn't. Also, some of these gaps, I'm not totally sure if I'm supposed to be able to fit through them. Explode all the walls in succession with spatial audio, then you have a bunch of feedback. It's satisfying, and you kind of know where you've unlocked more stuff. Yes. 100% Cubus. Yes. Yeah, so like I think giving like some more feedback and juice into this would elevate it to another level. And then I think if you bring in some more ways to allow the player to have some agency, that helps it out a lot. And then especially if you combine all those with a more gentle ease into the game, like right now, woof, it is like I can't imagine finding all these different colored cubes. Like, oh, I found one. Hey, good. See, like that feeling is really good. When you find one, it's like, yeah, this is great. Oh, I found another one. And this is what I'm talking about. Wait, oh, no, that was a graphics bug. Darn it. I got really excited there for a second. This is what I'm talking about, where it's kind of like reverse difficulty, right? It is the hardest it's ever going to be at the very beginning of the game. And the more things you clear away, the easier it gets, which it just feels kind of awkward. Dermarcus, 1982, hello, welcome in. It's good to see you. How are you, friend? I hope you're doing well. And I don't know how much more I want to play. But if all of those things were introduced and all of a sudden I had some more tension and some more ability to interact with things, I could see myself having a good time in this. And I could definitely see an audience for it. Hey, we got a portal and a glow effect. A glow effect would be really nice on those cubes. Something to signify to the player, hey, go look over here. I guess there is. I don't know why I've just never noticed that before. Okay, so we got the greens all squared away. You've put me into a ball pit, right? That's right. We're just living our kindergarten dreams. Just living our best lives right now. This is a indie game called Null Gravity Labyrinth. It's kind of exactly what it sounds like. We're trying to find these cubes to eliminate colors so that we can find the golden cube. It's kind of like finding the golden snitch in Harry Potter, which is kind of interesting because that tells me that you could theoretically get through this level without finding all the colored cubes. It's kind of interesting. Yes, the developer reached out to me. They wanted to get some feedback on this, and we're happy to oblige. There we go. There's the source of that glow. See, the glows are good. Now that I know kind of what I'm looking for, I'm finding things a lot more. Once again, we're getting rid of more colors. It's going by a lot more fast. This is great. Yeah. Understanding the lighting cues is huge. Holy cow. The wall should restrict you more, basically with only one cube available in a small area at the start, growing to a few more cubes. Yes, exactly. Exactly. There's a level design problem in here. QRT42, playing it now, and the far plane is increasing with time. Really? Like the bounds of the level get bigger over time? Oh no, the draw distance is getting bigger, isn't it? Yeah, you're right. I'm seeing much further now than we did at the start of the game. That's kind of frustrating. I missed one? Darn it. Where did I miss one? Yeah, because this is now feeling a lot more open and free and comfy cozy. I'm like more interested in finishing it now that I've like been able to find stuff at a reasonable clip, right? For a while there, we went like multiple minutes without finding a single cube, and that was pretty rough. But once we figured out the lighting, now we got a stew going. I do feel like I'm in a McDonald's ball pit. That's for sure. With these colors that are left, 100%. Red, yellow, blue, and then the Mickey gold. Hey, there's one. Watch where on the balloons the reflections are. Yellow to the left behind you. Ow, darn it. Hey, let's go over here. I don't want to go through a portal. I want to find a cube. Yes, there's blue. Good. See, I'm wondering how intense the reflections really are. Like, is there just a general light source, or does it, like, okay, so no, it's not just a general light source. Good. Now, is this our golden cube? I think we found the golden cube. Nice. Hey, level 1. There we go. Finish level 1. In the next level, there will be wood. So there you go. High scores, levels, main menu. Yeah, I mean, this could be refined along with a lot of the same things. Typography, the yellow numbers are a little weird here. Just refining the typographical styles. You found the snitch. That's right. That's Null Gravity Labyrinth. I do think there's a lot of interesting stuff in here. I really, truly do. So thank you so much for joining us. That's going to be it for today's